Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the special forum on prosumer and prosumerism. Ladies and gentlemen, in this global era we live in, an era that is shaped by changes, primarily coming from rapid changes in ICT technology, has proven to be a very challenging era for Muslim Ummah and humanity as a whole. In an era in which no one can choose to be outside the system, it is even a greater challenge for Muslim countries who by and large are followers rather than being leaders. Yes, we had a golden age centuries ago, but today unfortunately the Ummah are mainly consumers and followers. As far as economics and trade are concerned, while Muslim nations are blessed with abundant natural resources, unfortunately the economic performance is not so encouraging. It is in this context that the forum today discusses a very unique topic, that is on prosumer and prosumerism, a term that is by itself very unique. To discuss this topic, we have with us three panelists who will try to shed some light on some issues related to prosumer and prosumerism. On my immediate right, we have Professor Dr. Muhammad Reza Wahidin, who is the Deputy Rector of Research and Innovation, IIUM, and also the Chairman of the IIUM World Prosumer Convention 2017. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you.
Next to Professor Reza is Professor Dr. Irwandi Jaswir, Deputy Dean at the Institute of Halal Research and Training, IIUM, and who is also in charge of the International Halal Assembly 2017. And to the end, to the right of Dr. Irwandi, is Dr. Wan Waradatul Amani Salim, Deputy Director of Research Management Center, IIUM, and is also the Director of Pitch Your Product competition. Welcome to all of you again, and thank you for being with us this afternoon. Let me start by asking a question. This term, prosumer and prosumerism, what exactly is it, and why is it an important agenda for the Ummah? Prof. Reza, as the chairman, could you shed some light on this?
Thank you, Prof. Aslam. The word prosumer actually was first coined by Alvin Toffler way back in 1980, when he actually wrote his book entitled The Third Wave.
Yeah, very famous one.
Yes, a very important book. And interestingly, this book, when it was translated into Chinese, it became the second best-selling book in mainland China, second only to the book by Mao Zedong. So it means there is a strong correlation, in my opinion, what we see China is today, being a superpower, manifesting their economic strength, especially all over the world, globally, whereby a nation that understood this book, this very important book about prosumer and prosumerism, will be able to become a nation that will influence a lot of activities around the world. So coming back to this definition about prosumer, the word that combines the word producer and consumer. As what you correctly mentioned in your introduction, when we refer to the Muslim today, most of us are consumers. And the first world, they are usually associated as the producers. So there seems to be what I would say as light at the end of the tunnel, because the concept of prosumerism or prosumer allows, or we would say, the empowerment of consumers, while you empower the consumers while limiting the excessive powers of big businesses. So which means individuals are innovators, and they are allowed to actually innovate, and they'll be able to consume as well as produce. And this will actually make an impact throughout the world, not only in third world countries.
Thank you, Prof. Would Prof. Irwandi like to add anything on this?
I'm representing International Institute for Halal Research and Training here. And when we see the concept of prosumerism from the perspective of halal industry nowadays, I think it's very, very relevant. As we are all aware that halal industry is very, very big industry nowadays, huge industry. The market size can be up 3.1 trillion US dollar per annum. And the question is, where are we, the Muslim Ummah? There is one report, quite interesting report in Malaysia, saying that about 90% of the players in the halal food supply chain, they are non-Muslim and non-Burmese. Yeah. And then when we see in other Muslim countries, I think the scenario more or less the same or even worse. In international or in the world halal business, you can see the Australia with the meat industry, dairy products. Brazil, they supply halal chicken to the world. Cosmetics, for example, we just come back from Korea. There are more than 1,300 cosmetic industries in Korea, and they conquer about more than 20% of market share for cosmetic industry. And now they venture into halal. So I think this convention is very, very relevant and timely, where one of the objectives is how to empower Muslim Ummah to see this challenging.
Well, if I can say, then there is great potential here, and we shouldn't be left out.
True.
Dr. Amani?
Yes, so speaking about empowerment, the key to basically be the producer and also to be the leading inventors in a lot of, such as Prof. Irwandi said and Prof. Reza said, in terms of putting the Ummah basically back in the game. So how do you do that? So we'll have to look at the way how Malaysia is right now. So usually before we were just a commodity-based economy. So everything is based on commodity. Basically we have palm oil and so forth. The first world country will take our products from our natural resources and create higher value products, and then we are buying back these products. So basically there's this mismatch between, you are the one that are producing, but then the other countries are making a higher value product, but you're again consuming the product. So in order to shift that, we have to change the way we do things from a commodity-based economy to something that is originating from originality, from idea, and from our own inventions and our brains and our talents. And that is in conjunction also with how South Korea basically built themselves up. Because they know they have nothing in their country, they don't have the resources such as what Malaysia has, so they put forth into the brains of their people. So part of that is, I will talk on a pitch your product. Basically it is a platform where everybody comes in, industry players, researchers and even students, to basically put their ideas and thoughts together to basically discuss and to push forward all these ideas into something that translates into innovation and wealth. So this is part of the pitch your product in conjunction with the World Prosumer also.
So if I understand you correctly, the point is Muslim nations, the Ummah, need to move to higher value added products and services, which at the moment we are not doing.
Yes.
So in this context, Prof. Reza, we have taken proactive steps. The IUM has taken proactive steps to promote this prosumer agenda, and is organizing a prosumer convention. Can you tell us a little bit more about the rationale and objectives of this convention?
Yeah, sure. The time now is right, simply because we have the ICT era. So by having this ICT era, we talk about the Internet of Things. We talk about cloud computing, accessibility. So what happened before the first industrial revolution in Great Britain, we can see that the cottage industries were dominating. Then it was eventually outphased. So with prosumerism, this can be reversed in the sense that the consumers will have more say. The producers will have less say. So in analogy to the cottage industries, you can imagine this model, in my strong belief, is applicable especially to developing countries, including ours. Because if you are accessible to the Internet, you can actually try to sell your ideas, your products, even from remote areas, bypassing middlemen. So in this sense, you'll be able to also remove whatever hindrances from actually, with these kind of hindrances, they are actually stifling innovation. I'll give you an example. The media industry. Today we talk about digitization of the media industry. We talk about decentralization of publication. You can now be a freelance author. You don't have to actually have your own publisher. You can go to Amazon.com. These are things, within the concept of prosumerism. So, leveraging on these opportunities, we, the organizer, strongly believe that we need to promote the concept to the bigger community, so that we realize that we shouldn't let go of this window opportunity to Malaysia specifically and to the third world or the Ummah in the broader sense.
Okay, so in the context of Malaysian trade and industry, I think what you're saying is actually very relevant, because many Muslims are actually falling in the category of being small and medium sized, maybe even micro size industries. And so this kind of event would probably be a very good opportunity for them to get some ideas on how they can go about taking advantage of this global era which we were just talking about. Prof. Irwandi, INHAT, as you mentioned, INHAT is one of the main niche institutes of the IIUM, and it deals with the halal industry, among others. Can you tell us what will be on the agenda of INHAT during the convention?
Okay. In conjunction with the convention, we plan to have one program we call International Halal Exhibition, International Halal Assembly 2017. This assembly basically is jointly organized among Halal Institute in public universities Malaysia. There are 4 institutes, INHAT from IUM, then we have one from USIM, one from UM, and another one is from UPM. So there are 4 main activities that we planned for this International Halal Assembly 2017. Namely, first is Halal Exhibition, International Halal Exhibition, whereby we plan to bring our client that have been with us in the last few years, industries from Malaysia and also from overseas, to exhibit their products and services. Second one is a workshop. We're going to organize international workshop that in this workshop there are 3 training program, in short training program we will offer to the publics. The 3 programs are among our top training module that we have. There are halal awareness program, then halal training promotion hours, and also halal lab services workshop. The third one is we will organize one forum specifically on halal cosmetics. Yeah, more specific is on the use of alcohol and non-halal substances in cosmetics. We will invite renowned experts in this area, and it is open for researchers, academics, and also publics.
Any particular reason you choose cosmetics?
Yeah, because this is one of the up raising industries in halal industry. Yeah, and then so far, I'm not saying this majority of our client, but among a big number of the training program and auditing that we have done so far is from cosmetic industry. So and it is very critical as well when you see the non-halal substances in the formula of the cosmetic, and then and this is the reason. Yeah. And the final activity is the International Halal Award to be given to those who contribute significantly to the industry.
These programs are going to be free of charge, or is there going to be a charge?
Some are free of charge, but for exhibition they have to pay, but very minimum.
That's good.
Yeah.
Dr. Amani, your pitch, your product,
Yes.
a little bit more on who you expect to get to be those who
Who do
present.
the
and
pitching.
what are you expecting to get out of this
Okay.
pitch your product?
So so the competition is called Pitch Your Product. It's actually started since last year under CREAM, which is under Research Management Center activity, which is Pitch Your Product 2016. That was open locally to just the IIUM community, and we have overwhelming 32 participants from the students in just a short notice of 2 weeks. So it shows the students are very enthusiastic to share their ideas and so forth. Now, we look at a lot of IPs and so forth. This is the issue of intellectual property. A lot of our ideas in the third world and developing world, we don't protect it enough, and we don't use the ideas to create wealth and generate jobs and so forth. What happened was, usually the first world country will have their strong IP protection and so forth, and all these ideas get transferred to them. The idea of Pitch Your Product is actually to inculcate the culture of ideas and innovation among starting with Malaysians and the Muslim Ummah as a whole, so that we are looking at wealth creation not in terms of just monetary, but also in terms of our intellectual property, IP, our thoughts and our thinking and our innovations and skills and so forth, to create products. So product is not just, this is not just a product. Product can be in a lot of forms, and we own the products and generate wealth for the Ummah with our own inventions. So this is the whole idea. Now, what is pitch? Meaning that everybody comes together, regardless of background, regardless of age, regardless of what their status are in the society, from industries, from researchers, from students, to basically pitch the idea in a short 3 minutes video. So why do we do it only 3 minutes? It's because when you are confined by time, you usually put your only best thoughts forward. You're not putting all these other things that are necessary. You just put your best thoughts forward. So what we did was, because pitching is not a common idea to the community, people are not used to pitching. Even I have researchers come to me and said, oh, how do you pitch? See, because of that, we put ourselves a step behind, because nobody knows your idea. It's all stuck in your head. You can't communicate it. So this is a platform for all of these stakeholders and players to basically participate and convey the idea in a short 3 minutes video. So how do we do it? We basically go to the ground. We go to schools, underprivileged schools and so forth, and teach them about why is it important to basically develop ideas from such an early stage. Because developing ideas and great ideas doesn't come only at when you're just, like you're already a professional. It can come, really good ideas come at a very early stage. And you can see, for example, even the giants such as Facebook and Google and so forth, all of it come from a group of people coming together with the brightest ideas and a lot of enthusiasm to basically build something which creates value for the society. So pitch your product is in that line of spirit, in also conjunction with the World Prosumer Convention. So what it is 3 minutes video. It has two types. One is the on science and technology, which includes ICT and so forth. One is also social innovation, because we normally forget about the social sciences. Social sciences also can innovate because their ideas can improve society, such as in terms of new policy and so forth, which comes from the social science. So we have 2 of these categories, and we have categories. There are students as young as 6 years old. They're basically just like kindergarten students who really want to pitch because they have an idea that improves something that they're really passionate about at that stage.
So you have some
exactly.
people who are going
Yeah,
to be
we're going to be very young.
Great.
So that's something that we want to basically. Sometimes if you see even the Prophet Muhammad SAW learn from the young. So we want to inculcate the idea that both of all of these generation can learn about each other, because everybody has things that they want to fulfill and they're passionate about. So the unmet need is to they basically have to fulfill the unmet needs that is outlined by the TN50 and also the 17 sustainable UN sustainable goals. So they have to align their ideas according to 2 of these. So basically is an event that inculcate entrepreneurship and innovation.
Thank you very much. I think these insights into what the convention is all about. Certainly, I think the organizers deserves congratulations on this for being proactive to do something that will try to make the man on the street or maybe even the child on the at a very young age to get involved with in a way taking things independently on their own, to make their own way into the prosumer world, if I can use the term. But in order for it to be successful, there has to be buy-in from stakeholders, and this sometimes is always a challenge. How do you make sure that your idea of having this convention is something that stakeholders want to come in? Firstly, who are these stakeholders, and what are some of the plans that you have in order to get this buy-in, Prof. Reza?
Thank you. We have to go something, one layer deeper before we can answer the question that you raised. The one that I have in mind is this. Similar to what AirAsia has a tagline, everyone can fly. So prosumerism has something similar, and that is everyone can innovate, everyone can share. That's a beautiful kind of thing. It's within Islamic kind of principles. You see, if you are passionate about this, you can imagine that the cost of production will be lowered. You see, and the consumers will be enjoying this, and it becomes a vicious kind of cycle. For example, if you are able to get access to, let's take the software example first. If you are able to get a free software from the internet, and you innovate to come up with a new product, so the cost will be lowered. And then you can also make use of existing platforms in the internet. You can promote yourself. We see Najwa Latif, before she became popular, she was singing in YouTube. So that is part of prosumerism. Now we go to more serious side. Unemployment. So currently the economists, the decision makers, policy makers may be viewing this as something that is within the normal framework. But we may have to look at it from a different point of view. The millennials or the younger generations, they are not like us. They are not like the ones where we are fixed to one dedicated job. But they may be freelancing, and they are part-timers. They are multitasking. So from the point of view of the traditional economies, they are considered as unemployed. So there has to be a new way of looking at this, because in the ICT era now, things have changed. And people are moving around. People are working from home. People are working from outside the normal traditional office. So you touch one aspect which is very deep, which is unemployment issue. You touch about something that's even close to us, for example, individuals. Nowadays, what do we do when we go, for example, to catch a flight? You have online checking. You print your own ticket. So the bulk, some portion of production has been transferred to the consumer. And now with the advent of 3D printer, what it means is that we go beyond software. Anyone can innovate, anyone can produce and share. They can actually share their design of hardwares. And that can be sent through emails. And that design can be printed using 3D printer. Adidas has now printed their own very shoes, own shoes using 3D printers. So believe me, if we really are passionate and there is a political will with this, the so-called cottage industries has a lot of potential in Malaysia. Because now, everybody can now innovate, share and produce without the middleman.
So who are we expecting to come from let's say maybe the private sector, the government, who are going to be attending this convention?
I can easily be very optimistic, but I'll be pessimistic. The purpose of this forum even is to get some kind of promotional activity, to get the people out there that we can reach further outside our university, to understand the concept of prosumer and prosumerism. So if they are not able to grasp the concept in the first place, why should they spend maybe a few hours or half a day or one day to come to this event? But as I already briefly explained, I'm sure the panelists as well as Prof. Aslam, the moderator, as well as the audience, quite positive about this concept now, because it will touch the mind, it will touch the heart, it will touch the pocket.
Thank you very much. Please.
I fully agree with what Prof. Riza has mentioned. In perspective of halal again, at INHA we receive guests, visitors. There's so many visitors. In a week could be 2-3 delegates come to us, and majority of them non-Muslim. They come and invite us to be the partners. There are two things that we would like to share in this forum. Number, we received once a delegate from Russia. They come to us and they introduce their products. The product is called I cannot mention the name of the, but it's kind of halal browser. So and it doesn't come from Muslim. He is Christian, and then he has a company in Russia with more than 20 IT engineers to support the industry. What they want to produce is just it's kind of browser, search engine with a halal perspective, and it is now they're trying. I think they're in the process of getting investors from various countries now, and this is something unique to us. We as a Muslim we never thought about halal browser. Second one is the rating system of our hotel, for example. Not only hotel, even our flight, our airline, our spa, etc. We can be rating system, and this is something new. not everything can be halal and haram, but something that you can rate it from 1 until 5 or 1 until 6. And then we try to develop this, and then we got the partners to promote this, and then now we got the customers, we got a market for that. So this is the thing, and I believe that with the convention it will open our eyes, researchers, even the students, as now what the invention, innovation, those things, to encourage them to innovate something that can be useful for Muslim Ummah.
And surely,
Yeah.
when you talk about the halal industry,
Yeah.
it's not meant only for Muslims.
Yes.
We are talking about it being
Yeah.
for humanity.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we strongly also believe that the halal industry is actually something that is better for
Yes.
humanity as a
Yes.
whole.
And there is a study also for the HACCP or GMP, good manufacturing practice, that halal, if you really follow the concept of halal, it is more hygienic compared to other quality system. Yeah. When we talk about hygienic, I remember another partners of InHeart. They develop now what do you call it? Is a system, sertu system, sertu or sama or this kind of things. Even now they ready-made clay to do sama for najis is already there in the supermarket. Yeah, and then there is a sama system. There is now follow up of the industry. There is now a halal pot is being developed now. Everything in the container must be halal, everything. And then there is a system, if it is contaminated with non-halal things, how to clean it up.
Yeah.
So there's a system for that. And this is where the Muslims should play their roles. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dr. Amani, any words? How do
Yes.
you get stakeholders
So-
to buy in?
So as you know, a pitch your product is people send a 3 minutes video, and there's a reason we do that. It opens worldwide. So people who cannot be physically here in Malaysia can pitch through the 3 minutes video. Even if the first stage is open to everybody. So we receive participants from United States even who wanting to pitch. It's a platform for people outside to send in a 3 minutes video without having to be physically here at IIUM. At the same time, it also creates sort of a platform where we here in Malaysia get access to people outside without having to go out. So everything is in-house in here at IIUM itself. So we receive, currently we receive a lot of videos from all around the world, some from Pakistan. There's a teacher from Pakistan. So she was interested to send, but she says she can't be here because there's not enough budget. So she said, thank for the video, because she doesn't need to come here and send her students. So that basically opens access in the spirit of world prosumer, and also to the ummah, is that we have to create this access to everybody. Not just within the people who have access to, money, a lot of money and resources to buy a flight ticket and come to Malaysia, but maybe people somewhere, remotely at a school somewhere in Pakistan who doesn't have access to all this wealth also can give their ideas and share the ideas that can be taken up by the industry and so forth. So how do we encourage industry to be involved? Is that we go with the same spirit of what Prof. Reza is saying. If they really believe in a concept and in the spirit of what we are trying to do, and a lot of these industries who are involved, such as Google Malaysia, Platcom is involved, which is a government arm in terms of the IPs, they manage IPs and so forth. They voluntarily give their service to us in terms of being a judge, so that they can give their inputs to the products that the students and researchers and so forth are providing in the video. And finally, also we have support from, we went to basically some state government so that they can reach out to schools and so forth. Basically they sponsor a school, usually under schools are luar bandar, outside. so that they sponsor 40 students so they can come to the competition. So this is how we encourage all the students to participate. So we involve everybody, starting from ourselves, the academics, the researchers, the industries, everyone who is believe in a concept and the spirit of prosumerism. So all of those are involved in.
Thank you very much. I think this last point about going to schools, I think is something that needs to be looked into further, because I remember in some schools we used to have public speaking competitions and debate competitions. So now I see the possibility in the future that we will have pitch your product or pitch your service competition.
Yeah.
And this should be continuous. So there are plans. I'm assuming that this
Sure.
convention will be a regular feature. Maybe is it
Inshallah.
an annual or a biannual idea? And IIUM will be
Well,
playing
we would love to have it every year. It depends on the response that we get in this inaugural convention. But the plan is we'll try to do it every year because it's an important agenda.
Yes.
You see, virtually all of us here, normally we are termed as knowledge workers. Okay, knowledge workers under what we call the banner of knowledge economy, K economy. But I do not like to use the term knowledge worker because sometimes you just think yourself as a worker. You continue to work. Okay, so these are, I'll give you at least 3 factors that actually help me, to motivate me to come up with this important convention, of course with the support of my colleagues. Number 1, the notion of knowledge worker doesn't jive well, especially for Muslims, because you keep on working. Number 2, the timing is right, because now we talk about the Internet of Things, the Internet, Industry 4.0, computing, big data, and so forth. And number 3, very fundamental. You see, I'm not sure about the rest of you, but to me, there's one thing within my control if we base it on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. There are 3 things that can help us when we have gone to the next world. One is the sadaqah, whatever we put the wakaf. Number 2, our children, they may be, praying for us. But number 3 is very important because it's within our control, and that is knowledge, to share knowledge. So, because number 1 and number 2, we cannot guarantee. See, if you have a lot of money, alhamdulillah, even though you have a lot of money, maybe your intention is not sincere. There are a lot of things you have to consider. Your children, also no guarantee, especially when they get married. Maybe they forget us. But number 3 is ours, with the will of Allah. It's within our control. And that, specifically for academics, that is part and parcel of our job scope. Knowledge, to share knowledge. The least that you can do today, to even treat it as a hobby. You see, you can actually learn something new and you share this thing that's new with the people out there. You don't have to make your own product, but actually to teach how to actually, effectively clean a shirt, iron a shirt. You put it into the YouTube or whatever, and it's actually part of prosumerism. So, these are the 3 things I summarized. Number 1, knowledge worker is better to use prosumer, because this will motivate, especially Muslims. You are not the consumer. You are actually the producer as well as the consumer. Number 2, the timing. If we talk about this 20 years ago, it's not practical. But now, ICT is pervasive. Everybody is basically connected. And number 3, the knowledge. If we are not part of this knowledge culture, then we are not going to be real Muslims. We are supposed to share. So, people are also talking about knowledge management today. And they're always complaining, might as well use WhatsApp. No need to come up with something more sophisticated. WhatsApp is enough. But you forget that we are talking about something deeper. For example, when I leave this university, how do you extract my tacit knowledge? Somebody dies, somebody retires, somebody moves to another job. Have you captured his or her, our students' tacit knowledge? How do you do that? Documented knowledge, no problem. But undocumented knowledge, that is part of prosumerism. How I see it, knowledge management is very much tied to prosumerism. The concept of sharing, the concept of being able to innovate, the concept of able to produce. Okay?
Thank you very much, Professor Irwandi and Dr. Amani, for sharing with us your thoughts on prosumerism and to talk about the upcoming Prosumer Convention, which is going to take place from the 7th to 11th of August, 2017.
Easy to remember. 7/11.
Yeah.
7/11
7/11.
August,
Yeah.
2017. On behalf of the organizers of this forum, we'd like to thank you all for spending your
Thank you.
morning with us.
Thank you.
And I, on behalf of the organizer of the forum as well, I would like to thank the audience for coming. And we look forward to seeing all of you at our convention. And we hope that it will be a successful event. May Allah bless us in this month of Ramadan and the university to become a regular organizer of this convention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi.
Clap, 5, 4, 3.